Action. Hello my YouTubers out there, this is your cameraman and your guide, Daniel Drupsky, showing you about what event it is happening on Market Street and 7th Street. And sadly to say, there is no parade here today, but last year it did, but the video quality was pretty bad, like I did the last one. So it's only going to be a ceremony. That's why you see all those trumpeters. Yeah. And today's date is May 30th, 2022. And today's the high temperature is 88 degrees in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Look at these people carrying their rifles. It's good to be a veteran if you have to. Hey. And look at the people standing over there, watching the ceremony. It's going to have to be a quick video about it. Camera going up. This is a good day to have a hot weather, but I hate the heat anyway, folks, personally. Excuse me. Right now they're honoring those veterans. They served during the wars. From World War I to World War II to Korean War to Vietnam. Even Iraq too. You don't see this in New York City, folks. Like I used to do it every Memorial Day in the past, visiting to Manhattan when I lived in New York. Show you around a little bit. I don't want to disturb the audiences. Keep like a close-up, my folks. People are cheering. I wish Bob Hope was alive, who he'll be honoring about this. Great comedian.
And as Action Group Director for the Commander of all Navy SEALs. Cook County native and is a graduate of Pottsville Area High School, the University of Notre Dame, Naval War College, and he studied at MIT, University of Southern California, and the Tuck School of Business at Pottsville. Upon retirement, he briefly worked for the Secretary of Defense Strategic Capabilities Office before joining Peregrine Technologies, a San Francisco-based startup company that delivers game-changing software for public safety institutions. He serves on the board of two nonprofit organizations with missions of great impact. Saddles and Service, which provides equine therapy and purpose to at-risk veterans and first responders. and the National Child Protection Task Force, which provides technology and advisory support to under-resourced institutions seeking to discourage child endangerment and human trafficking. Ed Kirtland resides in the San Diego area with his wife Heidi and their 2 children. He loves returning to Schuylkill County, the family, friends, and the foods he misses dearly. I give you Captain Ed Poditsky, U.S. Navy, retired.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, councilman. Thank you, everybody I'm joined up here on the stage with today. It's an honor to be here, and especially those members of other service organizations, some here in the front row, some behind me. You do so much for veterans. I really appreciate it personally. And having been a veteran now officially for about a year and a week, I can't say enough about what you guys do. So thank you. Mr. Mayor, I do have to share with you a quick story. And please know I am personally grateful for your service to my former city, my always city, in your advocacy for this day in Pottsville and the efforts to ensure our memorials are preserved. You see, when Bill Higgins, my friend in the back here in the camouflage, you can't really see him because that's what he's wearing. Bill approached me many months ago about joining up for this event. And I believe I told him I was honored, I was privileged. And Bill, are you really sure you want me to do this? I mean, how did you even get my phone number? And Bill, in the classic Bill Higgins way, kind of whispered and said, Ed, look, I don't know how to tell you this, but you weren't our first choice. I mean, we have former 4-star NATO commanders and other very distinguished individuals in prior lineups. I'm just a Pottsville kid who's grateful to come home once in a while for the friends and the food and the family, as was just stated. So thank you for having me. So what does this day mean to me? We don't say Happy Memorial Day, as despite all the barbecues and the sales, it's not a happy day. It's more of a solemn one, a time to remember and reflect, and perhaps make small acts of gratitude for those who have been called to service, whether they were draftees or volunteers or somewhere in between, that served in our armed forces and were killed in the line of duty. As a country, as several have already mentioned, we started doing this during and in the aftermath of the Civil War. And to me, it's not just any federal holiday, it's one that has very deep personal meaning. We are here ultimately for those that are not here, for those that gave, and I stress the word gave, not lost, their lives for us, for our country, for our way of lives, and for others to have a chance to not live in tyranny. These are lofty things, and no matter what, their sacrifice was often simply for the buddies in the foxhole next to them. These men and women from all walks of life were sent into harm's way on our behalf and simply did not return to be with family, to live their lives, and to fulfill their dreams. So in this solemn context, I'm very proud to be from Pottsville and Schuylkill County because we have quite a record of answering that call. The last few days, as I was speaking to 2 of my friends who happened to be in the audience, Corey and Kevin, thanks for being here, guys. Our chats often migrate, as I come home, to the values that make this place a little bit different. What it came down to, and I think we're in agreement here, guys, is that this place has a higher density of the kind of people you can call when you need help the most, because they'll be there. And then yesterday, as I was taking my parents to visit the St. Francis Cemetery, I walked around amongst the gravestones, and the number of flags and the number of bronze plaques made me pause. I saw dozens and dozens of World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam era plaques. I've also had the honor to personally walk Arlington and bury some friends there, and our national cemeteries in San Diego, Hawaii, and the Philippines. Each time I take note of how many servicemen, just because I'm curious, servicemen and women from the greater Pottsville area lie in that hallowed ground, and it is impressive. Those of my generation who had the honor of growing up in the company of the greatest generation, like you, sir, thank you for being here. Again, round of applause for our World War II veterans. And if I may add, go Navy, beat Army. Sorry. Those of my generation have had the honor of growing up in the company of, like I said, the greatest generation, being taught and coached by Korea-era and Vietnam veterans. And the sense of duty and sacrifice by them and the occasional stories of the friends they lost was absolutely formative for me. No one can argue that answering the nation's call is in this city and this region's DNA. So a quick history lesson. Look from the first Memorial Day to now, 1865, 1868, and beyond. In the Civil War, when the first troops to reach the Capitol following President Lincoln's call for volunteers, now called the First Defenders, were from Pottsville, raised right here. Over 5 regiments were raised during the conflict, plus a cavalry unit. And as an amateur historian, I can tell you these units were legendarily present and often decisive at many major battles across every theater in the United States. From Bull Run to Appomattox, Pottsville was there. In the Spanish-American War, our monument at the other end of Garfield Square here honors the PA National Guard volunteers in that war. Again, we were there. In World War I, simply too many to count, especially in the Army and Marines across the Allied Expeditionary Forces. We lost many, but we were there. In World War II, so many. But at Pearl, at Midway, at Iwo Jima, in Sicily and Normandy and Bastogne and countless other places, this region was there. And then certainly in Korea and Vietnam, many again. And I want to thank those veterans present here from both conflicts and their families. And for me, especially the Vietnam veterans that remember on this day those many friends that didn't return home. Since Vietnam, we've had multiple smaller conflicts: Grenada, Lebanon, Panama, Gulf War, the Balkans. And as you look at the roles of people who served there and some who were killed, once again, Schuylkill County was there. And then certainly in the last 21 years, in the war on terrorism, Afghanistan, Iraq, I think of a handful of things, having served in all of these. I think of Captain Jason Jones, the son of my swimming coach, a Blue Mountain kid killed a few weeks after I left Afghanistan in 2014. Jason was also serving in the Special Operations Community, and his base was about an hour helicopter ride from where I served. I think, too, of Dave Holly and my squadron mates Scott Lamoureux and Ray O'Hare, each of whom perished, not in conflict, but while pushing the envelope in the very dangerous world of naval aviation. And then my good friend, this is a personal note, in December of this past year received the news that a good friend named Commander Brian Bourgeois, the commanding officer of SEAL Team 8, was killed in training doing a high-risk helicopter operation. Brian left behind 5 kids, and again, to the groups here, your support to Brian and his family has been immense. I'm proud to announce that all 5 Brian's kids' college educations are already paid for. Like many of the servicemen and women we remember today, these were the kinds of people that could have done anything. But they believed that the best measure of love is to do something for others, often in incredibly hard circumstances. So in closing, it's a beautiful day. It's a warm one, and it's also a solemn day. I'm so grateful for all you being here. I believe it is our duty to keep their memories alive. But no good deed goes unpunished. So I have 3 favors to ask of each of you. The first one, sometime today, and maybe some of you have already done this, raise a glass to our fallen. Over 240 years of them. Spend time with family and friends. Certainly enjoy the day. But literally, I'm asking you to pour a glass of your favorite beverage, maybe even a Yingling, in good company. And I note here that both of these are easily found here at Schuylkill County. And say a simple thanks to those that aren't able to be here. Thank them for the freedom we have to live, the freedom we have to criticize ourselves and our government, the freedom to heal our scars and try to make things better. Favor number 2. Someone wiser than me once said that the only thing worse than being killed is being killed and then being forgotten. Each of us likely knew someone that we honor today. A dad, a sister, a brother, a son. Here's the ask. Find someone that didn't know them. Tell a story. Talk about them not as heroes, but as human beings. Share the cost of what it means to sacrifice. Celebrate them not in sadness, but in love. This day is about lives cut short. So I'll start us all off with a story. My close friend and teammate, Lieutenant Jonas Panic, was a 6'6" football player from Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. In my poor impersonation of football announcer Keith Jackson, I used to tell people when they asked what Jonas was like, he's a biggin and he'll come at you. Jonas went to the Naval Academy and played defensive line. And upon graduation, because he had bad knees, he had to join Naval Intelligence. He was so much larger than life, totally devoted to his family in Bellefonte, and he was recently married to his very, very patient wife, Jen. He and I became very close friends working late nights at the Pentagon, both having come recently from deployments. Both of us were from fairly woodsy areas of Pennsylvania, both recently married, both junior officers, both big fans of 80s music. I personally like 80s hair bands. He was more into cheesy love ballads. His ability to break the ice by belting out 80s tunes right before some really important 4-star level briefing was absolutely laudable. The sense of humor was as big as he was. And both of us displayed immense skills in planning and executing practical jokes. Jonas had a superpower in working with some of our most junior, newly arrived folks, challenging them and giving them confidence in pretty tough jobs, especially those we give to 20-year-olds. We spoke often about our futures and whether to stay in or get out of the Navy. I know he had big plans, as big as his giant frame and his giant heart, and I was ecstatic to hand over my role to him as I left for the White House in the summer of 2001. My friend Jonas was killed, along with 7 other incredible teammates at the Pentagon on September 11th. I miss you, Lloyd. Thanks for standing the watch. My first toast will be to you. Third, for the group, I humbly ask you to reach out to a veteran today or this week and check in. We have seen a significant and certainly concerning increase in veteran suicides over the past few years. As science shows, it's often the between the ears wounds that never really heal. And I'd argue these are casualties as much as any in battle in our nation's wars. The systems for addressing these are making great strides, but simply not fast enough. I believe we have many folks that are dealing with the hidden scars, and I know for a fact that reaching out with a simple, hey, how you doing? Let's talk, can make a big difference. So those are my 3 asks. Raise a glass, tell a story, call a veteran. Thank you again to the mayor and the council, and to all of the groups gathered here, to the 3rd Brigade Band, and to Billy and Brock for the great readings. Again, it's great to be home on an important day that is so important to so many of us. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain, for your inspiring words. And I promise, some of the faces I see out in the crowd right now, we'll try to live up to those 3 requests. Especially that first. At this time, we would like to have a moment of silence to recognize all our deceased veterans. Thank you. Honor guard, when you're ready, we'll have a rifle salute.
Look at this. You haven't seen that since like the people were in the army, carrying rifles. Back in the days of World War II and Vietnam. Yep. Sounds like taps. Yep. Take off your hat. Yep. Look at all the people saluting. Yep. Order arms. Left face. Forward march. These people just trained for this. That's why they're called veterans. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video about the Memorial Day Ceremony in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Usually we have a parade, but this year is a ceremony where the veterans were just served in the Army and Navy and the Air Force for so many years. It's the first time I ever saw like using a gun in person. Rifles or shotguns, yeah. This is the old cannonball, the cannon gun they used in the Civil War. So folks, I hope you enjoy watching this Memorial Day ceremony on Market Street and 7th in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. So till then, I'm going to give you some more updates around of my videos, and I try to subscribe or comment of any of this thing that you just learned today about veterans. When people were served and getting killed during the war. Yep, war is a very serious thing to had to go through. The old days, people used to be drafted, but they don't get drafted anymore. Yep. Till then, this is your cameraman and guide, Daniel Drepsky, saying, thanks for sticking around this Memorial Day ceremony video. You just take care, try to subscribe or comment, or press any of these yes or no buttons for like the YouTubers. So long, folks, and happy Memorial Day. Stay safe and stay positive. Bye.